started, and then you can say that. You can't hear me still?
No, not good.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Living in Oregon for many years, I was able to learn how to really embrace the rain. And this came into my awareness really firmly on Saturday. I don't know if you remember the weather on Saturday, but I was astonished a few people when I chose to ride my bike as my form of transportation. And it was at that point that I realized I was going to scratch my other very well-crafted speech that I had for this evening and go ahead and focus on bike safety in the rain. So the three things to really think about, I believe, are what you need for your bike, what you're going to wear, and how to ride. So on your bike, it's best to have fenders. And on the back, you want a fender so you don't get the stripe up the back side of you, and you don't spray the people that may be behind you. On the front, you want the fender. It helps to protect your feet so they don't get quite as wet. And then also to make sure you're not getting any debris from the road up into your face. Lights are also very helpful. So you have a white light in front, red in the back. Daytime running lights, you'd like them to be flashing because the whole point is so people can see you. Now, as for carrying your contents, because most time people are riding a bike for a reason, to get from here to there, you can have racks on the back of your bike and attach pannier bags, which oftentimes are going to be waterproof bags, and this is very helpful in the rain. Now, you don't have to have fancy panniers in order to ride your bike in the rain, so you can have a messenger bag that's going to go across, or a backpack, and those don't even have to be waterproof. They can be water resistant if you're going at a pretty good pace, and you don't have too sensitive of items in your bag. A water resistant bag is going to be just fine. So now, as to what to wear. You want to have a waterproof coat. If the weather is similar to Saturday, which was a torrential downpour for an extended period of time, you do want waterproof pants. You can pull those on top of whatever other pants you may be wearing. They'll have an elastic band on the bottom or like a gasket to kind of keep water out. And that goes right into what you would keep on your feet, which would be maybe leather boots or waterproof boots. You can buy something fancy as a cover, but you don't have to. Some people use trash bags to protect their feet when they're riding their bike in the rain. A helmet. You always need a helmet when you ride your bike, contrary to a lot of really cool kids in town. And under that helmet, you would wear a hat. It's a thin hat called a skull cap, or you can wear a cover on top of the helmet that helps to kind of thermoregulate. And then gloves are obviously also a component of what you would wear on your body. Keep in mind that when you're wearing waterproof clothes, the point is to keep the moisture out, and so oftentimes it's going to keep the temperature in, and you're not going to have a lot of breathability. So I often choose to either wear a hat or gloves, one or the other, because I'm a firm believer that my largest organ, my skin, is there for a reason, and it's okay if it gets a little wet. So that is your choice. Now, how to ride. You are riding on the road, so you follow traffic laws. That's a good recommendation, always. There's also a lot of bike lanes around town, but oftentimes they're more served as parking spots and loading zones, and so they're not very reliable. So you are going to have to mingle with traffic oftentimes. So when you are mingling with traffic, you want to, what I would say, pick a line. And when you're picking a line, you are saying that this is my trajectory, this is how I'm going to ride, and you are then predictable to the people around you. So that way they can make safe, predictable moves around you. Defensive driving is something that we learn in driver's ed. And using those basic skills in your riding a bike comes in handy. So in inclement weather, it's often appropriate to ride in the middle of the car lane. Although you'll frustrate a lot of drivers around you, vehicle versus bike is not a really fair contest. So riding in the middle of the lane is perfectly appropriate. The goal is to be aware, for people to be aware of what you're doing, and the other important point is for you to be aware of what's happening around you, which means if you're wearing headphones, those should come out. You should always have awareness of what's going on and all of your senses. Now, all of these how to rides to this point are kind of basic, and you want to do those all the time. As for particular to the rain, if you see a puddle, try to avoid it at all costs, because you never know what is underneath the surface of that water. There are potholes in the city that are probably able to swallow me and or my bike. So you don't want to shorten your ride too much by interacting with one of those. Now, if the temperature drops, there was a few Tuesdays ago that it was quite slushy outside, and in those types of situations when the temperature is dropping and the precipitation keeps on coming, maintaining a steady cadence, or you basically moving your feet at a pretty steady pace, is really important. Not going fast, but not hitting your brakes, because when you're hitting your brakes, you're slowing down your wheel, and you're potentially even stopping your wheel, which will cause you to swerve, which then you may have an unanticipated contact with the ground. So those are my pearls. Hopefully they don't dissuade you from wanting to get out and ride your bike. Hopefully they clarify and potentially mitigate some of the obstacles that you've created or that exist. And I hope, my only hope, is that you get out and ride, rain or shine.